Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanao Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahe Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vidvishavahe Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hi, this is the third attempt that we're going to make at experiencing the 7th chakra state of being. This is a very hard experience to put into words, and so with the last two practices and with this one, we'll do techniques that hopefully let you dabble into that plane of existence. Today's practice is going to be a series of asanas to start out, and they combine balance, concentration, and strength. So they are seated balancing postures. Some of them will seem a little familiar, some of them are perhaps new twists on things. Then for the pranayama practice, we're going to do it seated in an asana. We're going to be in gomukhasana. And so get a strap, a belt, long scarf, something that you can use to kind of extend your arms so that you can grasp your opposite hands behind your back. And then we'll do two different meditation techniques. One is, the translation is swooning meditation, to actually change the chemistry in your brain and get you into a slightly altered state. And then the final one is using your sense of expanded self, of higher self, to control the mental and emotional fluctuations, sensory fluctuations that happen. All right, so that's what we've got on for today. This will be, there'll be a couple weeks break after this because Brian and I are moving. So I will be in communication about when we start back up. Until then, let's go ahead and tune in. Find your sense of strength. And notice the sense of strength being a very solid, firm, stable, husky. Think of it in those terms, very material, material framework. In yoga, this is thought of as being related to the earth element. And the experience of that, the place to experience that most easily in the body is down in the pelvis, in the legs, and the feet. Feel the comfort that comes from having that part of your body feel more substantial, more weighted. Perhaps as though you've increased the weight, you've increased the amount that you can push down in the low part of your body. And now tap into the part of yourself that seeks the light. And in yogic terminology, that is up in the head, beyond the ethers, beyond any material, physiological matter, and out beyond space. And you may experience this as a lightness or an upward sensation in the top of your head. And then the hands are together in front of the heart, where the these two aspects of the self, energy and matter, meet in the heart. And we'll chant Om Namo Guru Dev Namo 3 times. Inhaling to start. Om Namo Guru Dev Namo. Namo Guru Deva Namo. Namo Guru Deva Namo. Inhale, work with Mul Bandh. If you'd like to repeat your intention, your sankalpa to yourself, do so. Great. Go ahead and let your hands come down, and we'll just start warming up our spine a little bit. So we'll make circles with the entire spinal column, and we're going to start down at the base of the body so that the movement is primarily instigated down in the pelvis. Now move your focus up to the belly button area and have the widest circumference of the movement be at the belly. Still just going the same direction. Now up into the rib cage. It's easy to get the rib cage to move forward. See if you can also get it to move to the sides and back. And then up to the highest part of your spine, up around the collarbones. This is going to be a much smaller movement. Great. Take your attention all the way back down to the base and go in the opposite direction. Starting down in the pelvis. To get your pelvis to tilt back all the way, it helps to use the abdominal muscles, squish the belly. And then move up to the navel point, getting it as far in each direction as you can. Rib cage. And then up into the collarbones. Great, we'll get a little rotational movement side to side, so you can just swap your hand to the opposite knee, and then the fingertips of the other hand come behind you. This is a somewhat passive movement, so you have to move your spine yourself for the first bit, but once your hand gets to the knee and the floor behind or beside you, use the arms to twist you, and the spine is passive. Inhale to center, switcheroo. Coming back to center, inhale, lift up on the pelvic floor. And we'll do another rotational movement. We do this a lot standing. We're gonna have the palms together, glide the hand up your arm, the other fingertips reach back behind you. Make sure you got enough space. Exhale as you twist. Inhale as you move through the center. All right, back to center. Work with Mul Bandh. Draw energy from that grounded solid base up through the spine, moving it, helping it to enable that sense of expansion, of moving towards the light, moving towards the positive emotions. Good. Okay, we'll do breath of fire in a couple of different arm mudras, arm positions. So to start out, see if you can touch your fingertips behind your back. And the closer your hands are towards the floor, the easier that's going to be. The more bent your elbows are, the easier that's going to be. And then you're going to use where you're holding on to your opposite hand and start to squeeze your elbows towards each other so that your chest lifts. And then if you can, you start to take your hands away from the floor, lifting them up. Oh boy, it's a pretty intense but well-deserved stretch. Release down, give yourself a little pause. Grasp the hands again, possibly even grasping in the opposite hand this time. And then work with first squeezing the elbows together. The hands will move closer towards the floor. And then if you have the range of motion, the hands come away from the floor, arms staying straight. Good, and then we'll do one final one, and this time we'll come into the posture and we'll do breath of fire. So keep going, and what you'll notice is that you are actively compressing the posterior part of your lungs and hopefully enhancing the amount of air that can move into the anterior part of your lungs. Great, inhale and release. Good, shake your arms out if you need to, roll your shoulders if you need to. This time, interlace the hands in front of your body, raise them up, and use the arm position and the squeezing of the elbows towards each other to close down the anterior part of the lungs and really stretch the posterior open, and breath of fire in this position. Inhale. Oh, really expand into the back of the lungs and release. Right hand on the ground, raise the right arm up, and then the right hand and arm will droop over to the left, but you're going to use your left hand pushing down to expand this part of the side of your body, and then breath of fire focusing on the right lung. Deep inhale. Use that inhale to stretch and expand. Push down with your left hand into the floor to get even deeper into the right lung. And release. Check in. Is there any movement that you would like to do to feel satisfied, complete with what we just did? And then we'll swap hands. So left arm is up and over, right hand is in contact with the floor. So left arm gets to be a bit relaxed, but you use the right hand actively, push it down into the ground so you get this great stretch all through the left side. If you turn your palm towards the ceiling, you'll get even more opening through the axilla of the left side, and then breath of fire. And then just like the other side, deep inhale. And use that inhale to stretch and expand even more into the left side. Push down with your right hand to stretch even more into the left side. Great, good. Pause for a second. All right, we are going to move into the asanas now. The first one, the translation into English is called rocking horse pose. So for each of the next three that we're going to do, you start with your feet on the floor, bent knees, and for this first one, your hands are in fists and at the level of your knees. And you'll inhale, hold your breath, and then tip until you find a balance point. And once you've got your balance point, you're going to see how straight you can get your arms and legs and how high up you can get your feet. And then release down as you exhale. You may want to take a few relaxed breaths in between. And whenever you're ready, we're going to repeat this sequence 5 times. Inhale, hold. And find where your balance point is. Eyes are open. You can gaze towards your toes. You can gaze towards your drishti. When you need to exhale, come back down. Take as many relaxed breaths as you need to. Inhale. Come into the pose. Good, and we're about to do the 5th one, and for the 5th round, if you like, stay up and hold and do about 30 seconds of breath of fire. And then squeeze mula bandha and release out of the pose. Pause for a second. The next one, the English translation is spinal column pose. It's very similar to lotus pose in Kundalini yoga, except the legs are wider apart. So again, you will start with the knees bent, feet on the floor. In this case, you can either hold your toes, your big toes, or if it's easier, you can hold the outsides of your feet. And again, we're going to inhale, find a balance point, and then work towards finding how wide and high the legs and arms can come away from the floor. If your arms reach your ankles instead, hold on to your ankles. And then when you need to exhale, come down. Check in with yourself after each repetition. Again, we'll do 5. If there is something you need to do in between, or if you just need to rest, do whichever works for you. Then inhale, hold. Hold the breath in, and then find your balance point. Legs as wide and high as they'll go. And back down. If it helps in the posture, work with the drishti. Again, this series we're doing is to help with concentration and balance and strength. If you can do Shambhavi mudra well with your eyes closed, you can have your eyes closed, but otherwise find a focal point that helps you balance. Right, so this is the 5th one. We'll inhale, come up, hold, and then if you like, you can stay there for about 30 seconds with breath of fire. Mulband. As you inhale, release down. Good. For the final one in this series of balancing seated postures, the spine needs to be really well loosened up. So we're going to do a couple of different things to get the spine limbered up. The first one is rabbit pose, which I do often, and it's also great because it directly stimulates the crown of the head. So you probably know this one already. On your knees with your toes flipped under, and you get into position like you're about to do a somersault, and you hold on to the soles of your feet, and then you use the action of lifting your bottom up into the air to help stretch your back. If you prefer to do this relaxing into and out of the posture, you can do 5 rounds here as well, or you can stay up and hold. Rabbit pose is also great because it's about as simple an inversion as there is, and there's very little pressure on the neck. Shift the pose however you need to so that the muscles of your spine and get as much stretch as you can. Great, and then drop your feet back, your hips back down to the floor. Swivel your legs out straight. So Pawanmuktasan is next, which is forward fold, and oftentimes it will be easier to do if you elevate your sits bones. You want the front sides of your legs to be working as much as they can, because that helps the back sides of the legs to relax. So flex your feet towards your head. Push your knees to where they feel quite straight. In fact, you should be able to feel the muscles of the quads pull the kneecaps towards you. Your kneecaps will slide this way just a little bit up your body. Now you can work with the alignment of your sits bones to help enhance that length through the backs of the legs and reduce some of the chance of overstretching the low back. So you can manually work with pulling your hips one at a time further back, and work with that sense of length this whole way out the heel and out the sits bone, lengthening in opposite directions from each other. Now you need to be able to hold that for the entirety of doing the rest of the posture. So you start with your spine straight. You can put your hands wherever they rest on your legs and really work yourself into that back line of the body. If you have your strap handy that we're going to use in a minute, you can wrap that around the balls of your feet, around your toes. The more that you're able to flex your feet, the more you're going to assist your body in getting that stretch through the back line. For this second phase of working with the forward fold, we're going to still keep our low back as neutral as we possibly can. So you're got the flex in your feet if you're holding with the strap, or if you're holding with your hands. Wherever you're holding, keep your spine really straight. In fact, feel as though you're moving into it by pulling your stomach towards your thighs. And then just see where the end of your range of motion is. Another way that this can be described is this as though your chest is moving towards your feet. And then for the final phase, the fullest fullness of the posture, your spine goes limp. So your legs and your arms are still working to stabilize, and you let your head get heavy and drop towards your knees, and your spine is relaxed. Just keep concentrating on letting your spine relax more and more and more. And as long as you have a very healthy back, you have no disc issues or anything like that, you can do a few repetitions where if there's absolutely no discomfort, you use your arms to pull you just a tiny bit further down. So typically the elbows are pointing towards the floor, and you use the strength of your arms to passively see if your spine goes a tiny bit deeper. Ease off of that a little bit as you inhale, and try it 2 more times. Moving on the exhale. Great, and then separate your hands to the ground and slowly walk your hands closer towards your hips as you let your spine stack back up. All right, so this final balancing pose, I would not do it. I wouldn't attempt it if you have any disc issues at all. And if you are otherwise have a completely healthy spine and want to try this final balancing pose, you hold on to the outsides of your feet or around the big toes, just like before. Find your balance point, and then the legs come up straight in front of you. So ankles might be, just depending on the natural length of your arms, maybe the breadth of your shoulders, you find where you can hold. And then we'll release down. Again, we'll just do 3 repetitions of this one. Inhale up. And one more time up. And then once you're here, go ahead and breathe normally. And we're going to do, just like we did in gomukhasana, you're going to try and bring your legs and torso closer towards each other. So on an exhale, inhale, keep your balance, and exhale. And we'll do a few reps of that just as you feel comfortable. And then lower down. Great. Let's take a pause in child's pose. So just flip over and give your back a break. And always remembering good old crocodile pose, if that is a preferable relaxation for you, lying flat on your stomach with your forehead on your hands. Both of those 2 postures great for letting your spine normalize. And then roll your way back upright. Again, we'll be with the legs extended out. We'll do just a quick bandha oriented practice. And we'll have one leg out, and if you can, sit on the perineum of the opposite heel, or just have that foot as close into the body as you can. So I'll give you 2 different options for loosening up your hips. Actually, we'll start with the right leg out and then the left leg. And you know, one of my favorites is ankle crossed over the opposite leg and then passively moving the knee up and down through the widest range of motion that you can. So that's a great warm up to get ready. Or if you wanna, since we've done those other 3 asanas, this might be a chance for you to try this pretzel pose. Again, this wouldn't be one that I would try if I had sciatica or low back issues. So you're gonna hold on to your toes with your right arm underneath your left arm. The left leg stays out straight, and then you pull the left foot back. You may need to shift to the outside of your foot like you are pulling an arrow back. Trying to pull your left foot towards your armpit, really getting into that left hip. And then release out of that. Good. So we'll do the right leg next, either moving the knee passively through maximum range of motion, increasing the health of that hip, or if you prefer, this time cross the arms with the left arm underneath and pull that right foot back towards the left shoulder. Great. All right, so we're going to either sit on the left heel in the perineum, or you're going to pull that left heel in as close to the body as you can. So this will look very much like the forward fold that we did. Find where your range of motion is. Legs straight, torso straight, arms straight. We'll do several deep breaths. On the next exhale, go ahead and do Mahabandha. So you'll feel where the heel is pressing into the perineum and start a contraction from there, squeezing the breath out as you move your abdomen into Uddiyana Bandha and tuck the chin into the chest. And release. Inhale. And we'll do this 2 times on each side. So deep inhale, and then Mahabandha. Switch the legs. Finding where your end of range is with legs, arms, and spine all straight. Let's do a few full deep inhales and exhales. And then on your next exhale, Mahabandha. And one final time, deep inhale. Exhale as you work with the muscles of the pelvic floor. Compressing all of the breath out. Drawing the chin and chest towards each other. And then engaging the muscles of an inhale without letting any air in. And releasing and coming out. Excellent. All right, so for the pranayama practice, we're going to scooch to where our back is against the wall to help us with alignment. And again, if you've got a strap, that's probably going to make it easier, because we're going to hold gomukhasana for 5 minutes on each side. So let's look at what the setup is like. We'll start with the right leg bent, and the heel of your right foot comes to the outside of your left hip and is pointing out to the side. And it's supposed to look a little bit like a cow's ear. So one way to make it look more like a cow's ear is that you put your hand on the sole of it and push it so that there's more of the sole facing up. For the practice, we want the knees to be directly one above the other. And so again, depending just on your physiology, that may be with simply the left heel crossed past the knee with the left knee pointing up. Depending on your range of motion, you just keep going down with that until ultimately the 2 feet look the same, like 2 cow's ears on either side. And here is your cow's mouth. Okay, good. But we're gonna hold this for 5 minutes, so you can move deeper into it as you loosen up. Start where you feel comfortable. The main focus on this is the arms and the respiration, because we're going to be sitting in this posture because it enhances a sense of calm, of relaxation, and expands the amount of air that you get in over time. So we'll start with the right arm up, and go ahead and let the back of your body be gently in contact with the floor to keep a guide about alignment. And depending on your flexibility, you may just start this posture out by drawing the, holding on to the right elbow and just drawing it towards the midline. And you're gonna let the hand dangle down as though it were gonna just hang right along your spine. So the right arm should be touching the wall, and your head should be pushing back into it so that your torso doesn't collapse. It's easy for the head to get squished forward. We're just gonna start here. And like I said, we'll be here for 5 minutes total. So over that range of time, you might get comfortable with your arm there, and you can put your strap in your right hand and drop it down so that the left hand can hold it behind your back. So just see what setup works for you. And then once you're in the pose, start breathing in and out simply through the left nostril, using your mind to control the breath. In and out through the left side only. Keep your focus on the breath and perpetually encourage your chest to be lifted and open, broader and broader across your chest. Now we're going to shift the breath focus. Feel like you inhale through the left. Exhale through the right nostril. Inhale right. Exhale left. Inhale left. Exhale right. So moving to full alternate nostril breathing. Inhale right. Exhale left. So all of you are quite familiar with this practice. See where you settle into your comfort. Is there a little pause after the inhale or after the exhale that feels comfortable? Start to use ujjayi breath so that the length of the inhale is stretched out. And you can feel a stretch through all of your chest and ribs as well. Just one more minute on this side. So if you want to, if you have the flexibility now to shift your legs deeper, if you have the flexibility to hold the strap so that both arms are engaged. Inhale left, exhale right. Inhale right, exhale left. I'm going to give us a little additional time here, since there might have been some extra setup time needed. So if you do feel like you're complete, then go ahead and slowly unravel your arms. Slowly unravel the top leg. And then finally, the bottom leg. Rest with your back against the wall, and we'll give a little extra time in case you need some additional time to complete that. If you are resting, see if you notice differences in how your breath feels in your chest cavity, in your spine. Okay, and then no matter what, go ahead and release the arms. Slowly release the top leg, then the right leg. And we'll get ready to do the other side. So this time we're gonna have the left leg is on the bottom, and you're gonna start by bringing that left heel to the outside of your right hip. And then see where your starting spot is with that with the right leg, with the leg that's on top. And you might even take a minute or two to stretch into that a bit manually. Okay, and then this time the left arm is up to begin. Go ahead and take it into the position. I'll start timing. And as before, you may want to simply start by passively using the right hand to draw the left elbow towards the midline. If you know that you already have a good deal of flexibility in your shoulders, you can Put the strap in the upper hand, bring the opposite hand around underneath you, and hold on to your strap. To begin with the breath practice this time, use your mental focus to breathe in and out of the right nostril only. The beauty of this technique is that you are having to concentrate. You are having to overcome negativity. And it enhances your awareness of the subtle energy channel that moves through the nostrils up to Brumaja, this third eye spot in the brow. Go ahead and move towards Ujjayi. All right, so we're 2 minutes into the practice. Notice if you can get your legs perhaps deeper into the pose. See if it's time to use the strap now, if you're still holding onto your elbow. And begin alternate nostril breathing now. So inhale left, using Ujjayi, exhale right. Inhale right, and exhale left. Resist the collapse in the chest and instead expand through the chest. Stretching the breath out a little bit longer and a little bit fuller each time you inhale. Making the exhale a little bit longer, squeezing a little more air out on the exhale. Noticing if there is a natural stillness in your breathing, either after you've had the breath in or the breath out. And if there's any additional adjustments you'd like to make as we move into the final minute, make those adjustments. Keep your concentration on the practice. Last few seconds. Great, relax the breath, release the arms, help your top leg to come out straight, help your bottom leg to come out straight. Take a second, either seated, or if you prefer, relax on your back, or relax in crocodile pose on your stomach, or child's pose on your stomach, with your brow supported on the backs of your hands. And we'll have a couple of minutes of gong music while you incorporate the benefits of the practice that we've done so far, the asana, the bandha, and the pranayama, before we move to meditation. So just a short rest at this point, and we'll do the final meditation, relaxing on our back. Bend one knee or the other. Push down hard into that foot to roll yourself to your side and come up, or if you're on your belly, push back into child's pose and then make your way back upright. That gomukhasana practice for breathing, it has a lot of therapeutic medical benefits. And so I'm going to read that to make sure I don't forget any part of it. It helps to overcome fatigue, tension, and worry. And so that in turn is beneficial for any chronic, any disease that is exacerbated by chronic tension or chronic anxiety, such as diabetes, for example. There's been shown to be a strong relationship to cortisol and dysfunctions of the adrenal glands contributing to type 2 diabetes. All right, so now for the first meditation practice. This is called swooning breath. And really you can sit in any posture that you like. It's going to be a fairly long sitting, 10 minutes or so. So you just want to make sure that your legs feel comfortable. Your hands will be on your knees, and we'll be going in and out of Shambhavi mudra with the eyes open and then resting with the eyes closed. So the head will be down to begin with the eyes shut. And then as we inhale, the eyes are going to come open. The tongue comes into Khetri mudra, and the soft palate. And then when your head is tipped back, not completely dropped all the way back, but at about halfway so that it's easy for the eyes to gaze directly upwards, your eyes will be completely open and trying to see the ceiling above you. And I can see just a little bit of the hair of my eyebrows when I'm doing it correctly. Hold the breath here. Eyes stay open. And then when you're ready to exhale, slowly close the eyes, disengage the tongue as your head comes back down. So that's it. It's called swooning breath because you will get a little lightheaded from the practice. Alters the oxygen saturation in the brain. So if you get uncomfortably lightheaded, or if you don't want to actually pass out, you just want to get towards that sensation. So stop if you get, if it starts to be too much. So let's go ahead and begin. Rely on the benefits of the techniques that built up to this point, the techniques we've used today. Your lung capacity should be working at its maximum right now. So really make the inhale Slow, draw it out, get as much air in as you can. Continue to make yourself feel more and more relaxed. Each inhale, more and more relaxed. Each exhale. Slowing everything down, slowing everything down. Perhaps getting to the point where it takes two full rounds of breath in a minute, maybe even less than that. wonderful job. Just a couple more minutes in the practice. If it feels appropriate to work with mul band at any time during the practice, do that. And do one final round. After the next exhale, sit and enjoy the stillness that you have created for yourself. If you would like to stay seated for the Antar Moana portion of the meditation, you can. Otherwise, relax on your back. Have a strong sense of identification with the experience of stillness, and perhaps a spot inside your body or inside of your head where you feel that stillness particularly resides. And think of that as your essential self, your cosmic self. We're going to split our awareness. Hold on to that sense of highest self, greatest self, self beyond the physical. And now simultaneously be aware of the sounds around you. Hear the sounds without classifying them in any way, like you're a brand new infant. There's just a wall of sounds. There's no identification of the source or differentiating from one sound and the next. And notice that the experience of sound in the ears is different and distinct and separate from the part of you, the essence of you that is observing. direct your attention back to that essential self. And that essential self is gazing towards the inside of the closed eyes, that screen that is referred to as Chit Akash. See if there's any visualizations that present themselves. This doesn't have to be like normal vision, just patterns of light, color, shape. There's no way to do this wrong. Every experience that you have gazing at the closed eyes is correct. And now return to observing sounds. Again, there's no identification of the sounds, but this time move from sound to sound, focusing your attention on the different sounds, perhaps far, perhaps near, perhaps the loudest, perhaps the quietest. Being distinctly aware that the process, the sensory process of sound coming into your ear is different from the essential self that is observing. Actively shift your attention from one sound to another. Be aware of the very subtle thumping of your heart. And then turning off the attention to the sense of sound. Coming back to Chit Akash, that movie screen-like area inside your closed eyes. No thoughts, simply allowing the play of light and shape to dance its way across the surface of the closed eyes. And now focus on a thought. Think of something that was pleasant that happened in the last day or two. Focus your thoughts and your attention solely on whatever that positive experience was, letting your thoughts spiral into more and more detail about it. Yourself be immersed in that positive experience. And now stop thinking about it. Come back to the essential self. Drop that thought. Think about something bad that happened in the last day or two, and let your thoughts become more and more dwelling on that negative experience. All your attention on the thought patterns that arise around that negative experience. The circular patterns of the negativity, the nuances, the details. And now stop. Bring your attention back to the neutral self, the higher self. And let that other thought drop away. Now project into the future a positive experience, something that you would like to have happen. And harness your mind. If any other thoughts arise, do not follow them. Solely follow cultivating the details, the thoughts around this positive experience. Coloring in all the details. And now stop and drop that thought away. Come back to your essential self, that place of stillness. One final exercise with thought. Think of something, think of a behavior that you could undertake that you actively think of as bad, as wrong. Work on the details of it. Don't think about anything else. Letting the darker aspects of the personality release themselves. And now stop and drop that thought like a hot potato and come back to that still place, the essential self, realizing that you have complete control over your thoughts. Thoughts are not the definition of who you are. Your senses are not the definition of who you are. Your emotions that arise are not the essence of who you are. Ask for just another minute or two to sit in the stillness. And each time an emotion, a sense, or a thought disrupts that, simply drop it, drop it, drop it. If gazing at Chittakash, the closed-eyed patterns, helps you to stay in this neutral space, use that technique. And now relax your mental focus. Each time you find yourself, work yourself to that place of neutrality, the more familiar it becomes, the less that the fluctuations of day-to-day life throw us off course, the more we're able to line up, to actively envision and line up and create the future that we want. Let's chant a long Satnam to close. Nam. Until we are together again, may we both be protected, may we both be cherished, may we work with our full energy, may we study to give good results, and may we be free of any ill will. Satnam, Namaste, Shalom. Take care. See you in a few weeks.